Hello everyone, Liberty Freedom Outdoors, bringing you another video. This is going to be more of a talking video. Try to help some of you guys out, become prepared, think about the future. What would you guys do if the solar eclipse on April the 8th takes everything out? What do I mean by that? The last eclipse of this magnitude was in 1811. There was a magnitude 5.8 earthquake that happened within a few days after this eclipse. I'm sure you guys have heard stories about the Mississippi River running backwards for multiple hours. This is what I'm talking about. Even worse, we just had COVID a few years ago. What if there's a new disease that comes out, or a new infection that comes out? What if our own government puts us on lockdown, just like they tried to do last time? What if this time it's more like martial law? Even worse, what if we have the biggest earthquake we've ever seen? And not just one, but all over the United States. What if the Chinese government shoots an EMP rocket over here, multiple of them, and our whole power grid goes down, all of our satellites go down, no cell phone, no TV, no ways to communicate? What would you do? Well, today, in this video, I'm going to talk about some ways you can prepare yourself and your family. I mean, let's be honest. Us that are Christians, we have repented for our sins. We put our faith in Jesus Christ. We have a promise from Jesus himself and God Almighty. Just like the saying goes, not fear of going hungry, as the Lord shall give us our daily bread. Also, one cannot live on bread alone. But God tells us not to worry about tomorrow, that his children will be taken care of. Not to worry about how you're going to eat tomorrow. He will take care of us. He will feed us. He will provide shelter for us. First of all, in the Christian community, we're supposed to look out for our brothers and sisters. And whether you believe in a post-tribulation or not, wouldn't you like to prepare until that time may come? Even worse, we know members of our government is extremely anti-Christian, extremely evil. More and more have been coming to light every day this year, in the last 2 or 3 years, of all the satanic worshipers in our own government. People who proclaim to be Christians and has came out otherwise. So many pedophilia things are going on, and pedophiles left and right. Almost probably 10% of all famous people, it's been coming out that they are pedophiles. Not only that, but they are in sex slavery, sex trafficking, child sex trafficking at that. Think about Jeffrey Epstein. How many more of them are out there like that has not been turned on? Clearly, he had some very powerful people, very, very powerful, including the Clintons, who visited his island frequently. How many more Jeffrey Epsteins are out there? That's my question to you. This video isn't about that. What if aliens come? It's been coming out for the last 5 years about these aliens that are coming. What if aliens land on Earth and just take over, trying to take over mankind? Now, I don't believe in that, being a Christian. What most people call aliens, to me, I most likely think are either our own government, subcontractors of the government, and they may very well fly on these discs, or fallen angels, demonic activity. But either way, I will show you how to prepare. I won't show you, but I will tell you things that you need to know. For starters, every one of you need at least a 3-month supply of food and water. Now, during this event, whether it's April the 8th, 2024, or April the 8th, 2029, the more you prepare, the more you will be prepared. In 1811, when this happened and the Mississippi ran backwards for a few hours, the whole nation's telegraph also went down, and it was down for months. There was no communication other than horseback, literal people delivering messages. And you could say, oh, we got so much technology these days. That would never happen. I so hope you're right. So other than food, you'll need a way of communicating. Ham radios are great for that. You can buy a Baofeng UV5R for less than $50. Comes with everything you need to program it. Program it yourself. Look up local repeaters in the area. There's programs online for that. There's many great YouTube videos on this subject, actually. Get you a decent antenna. Get you a mobile radio, or even a stationary one. Within a week, you can study for your ham license. Go get it. Guaranteed within an hour's drive, you can find a place that tests every Saturday. It'll cost you less than $50, and you can be a licensed ham operator. Don't just buy this stuff. Test this stuff. Here locally, every Thursday night, there's several of us that get on the net, and we just do basic call-ins, just to check in. Tell your call sign, talk for a few brief moments, and just check in. Mostly people testing the equipment. There's very, very much a lot of pros on there and older folks that's willing to help new people. There's many of Facebook groups and local groups that will help you. There's even Hamfest. There's a national one in Alabama that they have every year where you can go buy used equipment and you can literally meet thousands of people into the hobby of ham radios. Okay, back to the food subject. Food and water. It's a necessity. You have to have it to live. The simplest, easiest thing to get a 3-month supply of food and water. Get everyone in your family a life straw. You can use iodine tablets if you want, or even chlorine tablets they sell at Walmart nowadays, but those are very expensive. You can also boil your water, 212 degrees, boils water. You can do that. Somewhat slow. If it's wintertime and you're melting snow, that'll take you hours to get enough water for you and your family to drink in a day. But very possible. Also, you can have regular chlorine bleach. Normally 6 droplets to a gallon will purify it enough to keep you from getting sick. It will kill 99% of the bacteria and germs in the water. You can't do all this overnight. Most of my preps I've been doing for 5 to 10 years. Basically, per person, for a 3-month supply, Going the cheap route, you could easily get 45 pounds of beans. Can be black beans, brown beans, pinto beans is the cheapest. Get them dried, and you'll have to cook them. Also, 45 pounds of rice per person. Now you have beans and rice for a 3-month supply per person. Store them in 5-gallon buckets in Mylar bags. Vacuum seal the bags. You will need means of a campfire. You'll need a grill. Prefer wood campfires though, as there's wood everywhere. You can walk around the forest around here and get plenty of wood for a few days, just picking up the dead branches off the ground. A good Coleman stove will come in good for this boiling water. They make so many stoves out there. You can get alcohol burners, you can make your own. There's tons of videos on here. That would be the first prep. 45 pounds of beans, 45 pounds of rice per person. Also, 1 gallon of water per day per person. You need ways to store this water. IBC totes are really cheap and available. You can get food grade ones. Then all you have to do is wash out if they're not already washed out. You'll need a rain gutter to catch this water. Really simple and easy if you think about it. Just takes a little bit of work, a little bit of time. Most IBC totes are 325 to 375 gallons. One of those will keep a family of 5 good for over 3 months. Well, I lied. 375 gallons. If you do the math, you would need 2 or 3 IBC totes, or a large swimming pool, a well, or a large body of water will do the trick also. The more you have stored at your bug out location, or your bug in location for some people, the better off you will be. You won't want to travel very much. You won't want to be seen by others. They could rob you or even kill you for your supplies. I recommend a life straw. Not just one of them, multiple. But to get started, one will do your family pretty good, as most of them can filter 750 gallons before they need to be replaced. You can also, as I stated before, you can use chlorine bleach. You can even make your own filter if needed. A simple 2-liter or a 5-gallon bucket. Make layers. Sand, gravel, pine needles, and charcoal. It'll work just like any other filter. Just like the ground filters out rainwater. This will catch most of the bacteria. It will work. I have tested it. It does work. Not that fast, but you can do it. Grow a garden. It's almost time to start planting. It's April. Grow a garden. Grow fruits and vegetables. All that you can. You'll want to dehydrate these, or can them in a pressure canner. Or if you have more money, buy a freeze dryer. That's a great way to preserve all kinds of food. Meat, eggs, pretty much anything, even candy. Now that you have a start, you'll need to think about long-term food, how to resupply food. You can forget about your favorite hunting spot, as there will be thousands of people trying to do the same thing. In an SHTF event, No one's going to care about if it's your property or not. If you can't protect it, or if you don't have a big enough family to protect it, people will poach on your land. They will not care. They're trying to feed their kids. Any means necessary for some people. There may even be cannibalism. Again, the total grid is down. There's no power, no electricity. Won't be any hospitals. They'll be overran the first couple of days, and then they'll have to shut down. There'll be no resupply trucks. Gas will be no more within a couple of short weeks. There'll be no cops. It'll be total lawlessness. You'll need to think about long-term food, though. Chickens is a great way. You can get eggs from chickens. Most hens lay between 5 and 7 eggs per week if they're a good layer. From the time you hatch them out up to about 6 months, you won't get anything. After 6 months, up to about 5 years, you can easily get 5 to 7 eggs a week. Get you about 25 laying hens and a couple of roosters to protect them. You can easily get 2 dozens a day this way. Of course, in the wintertime, when the daylight hours are shorter, you don't have any electricity, no means to put a light on them. They won't lay as many, but you'll still get a few. You can preserve your eggs by putting them in lime and water. They will last up to a year. I prefer 1 gallon buckets or 2 gallon buckets, as if you use 5 gallons, they tend to smash and break open. Also think about rabbits. Rabbits is a very good resupply of food. New Zealand's, there's a few other ones I won't mention here, just for time's sake. Get you 5 females, 2 males in case something happens to one. You always want to have at least more than one. But no worries. Rabbits can have 25 to 30 little ones in one litter. If you have 5 females having a litter every month, and yes, they have litters every month, 25 times 5, 125 rabbits you would be getting every month. You can eat the rabbits after 6 weeks. So now you have ways to eat, you have protein, you have ways to get carbohydrates. Another 5-gallon bucket in Mylar bags would be, you need about 25 pounds of flour, whole flour, all-purpose, wheat, doesn't really matter. Approximately 100 packets of yeast. Get the good yeast, the live yeast. $25 to 30 pounds of sugar, brown sugar, powdered sugar, and you'll be able to bake your own bread over a campfire in a covered pan. I've done it. It's pretty easy to do. The recipe for bread is real simple once you've done it a couple of times. So you have ways of getting carbohydrates, protein, a little bit of fat. You'll need to think about salt and spices. Eating rice and beans every day for multiple months ain't going to be very pleasant after about the first week. Make sure you have salt and pepper. Maybe some Montreal steak seasoning, allspice. Whatever your favorite spices are, even your favorite hot sauces to flavor this stuff. Try to flavor it differently every couple of days so you don't get tired of it. Go from eating rice and beans to eating a bean soup one day, or maybe a rice soup the next. Also, a good thing about chickens, you can raise and breed meat chickens. After 3 to 4 months, you can slaughter them and you get a healthy amount of meat off of them. White Cornishes, they're pretty well known to be raised as meat chickens. I've also raised those before in the past. You get about 8 to 10 pounds per bird. So you raise a garden all summer. You can your goods, or maybe freeze dry them. Peppers, cucumbers, strawberries, a little bit of corn, potatoes, onions, garlic, hot pepper, sweet pepper, zucchini, whatever you prefer, really. So now you can get your supplemental calories a day. Most people eat on the normal 2,000 calories a day. A healthy man doing all these chores that you'll have to be doing in a day just to let your family survive, you'll need 3,000 to 4,000 calories per day. So don't forget that. Figure that in. And you can't get all this overnight. Take out $100 a week and go buy rice one week. The next week, buy beans. The next week, buy sugar. And so on and so on. You guys get the point, I think. When you buy salt, when you buy the 1 pound cylinders of salt, make sure you get the stuff with iodine in it. Your body needs iodine to survive. They make 2 kinds, iodine free and salt with iodine. Your body actually needs salt, believe it or not, also. There won't be no AC in the summertime. You'll be sweating a lot. You'll need to replenish your salt in your body. So, you have food and water taken care of in this geared down event. There could be a nuclear attack in which you won't be able to grow food outside. You could build a greenhouse. You could grow it in your basement. Of course, you need lights to do that. Well, if there's no electricity, you could use a generator, but you will run out of gas within a couple of months. I recommend you getting solar panels. Get you 3 to 4 100-watt solar panels. Get you 3 or 4 batteries. You can use the lead car batteries, that's fine. Lead acid batteries, they will work. The RV batteries are better. The lithium gel batteries are really good. Get you an inverter. You'll need a way to charge your batteries for your hand tools. Maybe lights to grow food. I'm just giving you guys some food for thought with all of this. It sounds almost insane me talking about this, but with the world we live in today, it could come tomorrow. We never know anymore. Have a plan, though, in place where your family will meet you. It could be a bug out location. It could be your own house. You'll need to think about caches, food caches along the way. No, don't just listen to me. Watch YouTube videos about how to make caches, bury them in the ground at various locations, make you a coded map to get to them. You and your family knows how to get to them. And actually do some of this stuff. If you wait until SHTF, it'll be too late for you. And this brings us into weapons. I think every person needs 3 different types of guns. Need a shotgun. I prefer a 12 gauge or 410. You'll need a rifle. I prefer a semi-auto. something along the lines of an AR-15, and you'll need a handgun for self-defense. Semi-auto rifle or shotgun you can hunt with if you needed to. Also great for self-defense. Heaven forbid you get into a shootout over somebody trying to rob you or kill you or steal your food or who knows. A semi-auto rifle would be great. But not only that, you'll need to store some ammo. I recommend 1,000 rounds per gun. Not per caliber. That won't work. You need 1,000 rounds per gun. If you have 3 AR-15s, you'll need 3,000 rounds. I recommend you have more than 3 guns, but I'd start off with 3 main guns. And I'll get later into the video, I'll get into detail why maybe more guns is a better option. Excuse me. You'll need ways to protect your caches, your food, your bug out location, your home. You need to learn some self-defense skills. There's many books online. Old military books are the best. You can even find books on booby traps. You'll need to learn how to make spikes, nail strips, trip wires. If you have plenty of money, you can buy all the ammo you want. It would be better if you could reload ammo. Shot shell, metallic cases. Of course, you would need empty cases, primers, projectiles, powders, things along that line. I also recommend a med kit, a basic med kit, a tourniquet, gauze, Israeli bandages, chest seals, a suture kit, staple kit. You got to remember, hospitals are going to be obsolete. They'll be overran for their medical supplies within a few weeks. You're going to have to perform your own medical care. Again, I'll get more into detail about that later in this video. So you have a 3-month supply of food and water. You have a little bit of ammo. You have a handgun, a rifle, a shotgun. You got your UV5R so you can communicate. You have a few weapon caches, a few food caches along your way. You know how to use all this stuff. You have the training and the skills to be able to do all this stuff. I recommend you have a hardware store and never stop gathering stuff. Now to the more serious part of this video. If you want to survive something long term, think of, what is that movie? Oh, I can't think of it off the top of my head. Anyways, if you want something long term to be able to survive, you can't do it on your own. Unless you have a family of 50 people, you're not going to be able to survive. You'll need to have a community. Where I live in the country. Everybody knows each other. We all talk to each other. There's approximately 20 families that live within a mile of me. We all talk to each other. Doctors, nurses. This is what you'll need in your community. You'll need families with preferably a doctor or an RN nurse. You'll need somebody that's skilled with carpentry, electrical, metal fabrication. Any prior or ex-military will be great to have on hand also because they have a lot of knowledge and a lot of free training they got. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there. There's plenty of old military books you can buy. How to move as a small squad. How to defend an area. How to overtake an area. How to do an ambush. The different types of ambushes. There's plenty of books out there. You just got to read them. You need a library of stuff. So, if you have this community of doctors, nurses, metal fabricators, welders, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, and you guys all have ham radios to communicate to one another, you guys have code words, some kind of a code language, because again, the ham radio, anybody can hear that. It's bouncing off of a repeater. Anyone can hear it. There'll be others. There'll be other groups out there that maybe didn't prep as hard, but they think they're mean enough. They'll just go and kill and take what they want. There'll be some of them that prepped enough gas. They'll be able to drive around their Humvees and their big 4x4 trucks, and they'll just try to take what they want. This is why I tell you, it's very hard to do by yourself. In a grid down situation, there's no one you can call for help unless you have a community. It just about takes a community to do this. I'm not trying to scare you guys or put fear into you. I just want people to be prepared. And I'm not talking about all the toilet paper you can stuff in your closet. In case of a nuclear event, I mean, it's really hard to shelter from nuclear fallout. You need like 6 feet of dirt, 3 feet of lead, 12 feet of water, 10 feet of concrete. So the best way is to go online, go to Amazon, and buy iodine tablets or iodine liquid. It will slow the effects of nuclear radiation down tremendously. There's also a great site called Jace Medical. You can get pretty much a year's worth of antibiotics. Nowadays you can even get blood pressure pills, insulin type of pills. It's a kit they sell. It's not real expensive. It's $200 or $300. Of course, you can go to Tractor Supply, get the fish biotics, amoxicillin, penicillin, all that good stuff. You'll need that. Again, there won't be any doctors or any hospitals or any doctor's offices you can go and get this stuff from. You'll need that to stay alive. In the old days, less than 100 years ago, many people died because of malaria or some type of disease they had they didn't know they had, and there was no cure to it because they didn't have antibiotics. They didn't have access to antibiotics like we do today. Again, the website's called Jace Medical, Jase medical.com. You go in there, kind of build your little profile. A real doctor prescribes you real medicine. You go to your local pharmacy and you pick it up. They may have even changed that where they send you the medication. Now, I'm not for sure how that works. I haven't been on there in a couple of years. But yeah, you'll need a stockpile of lumber. A lumber mill would be great if you could afford it. Stockpile of hardware, nuts, bolts, screws, nails. Hinges, door locks, deadbolts. Just simple defensive security stuff. Batteries are great if you can recharge them. Again, you'll have solar power, hopefully. And an inverter, you can charge your batteries up, recharge them. You want to stay as low key as you can, though. Again, when you build a campfire, build it in the ground There's many videos on YouTube. I'm not going to go into all the details, but if you build it a couple feet into the ground, you can cook it on top of it. There's usually no smoke. It burns so clean, there's no smoke coming up. Nobody can see that smoke. You can even do like a fire hole, they call it. Kind of like a rocket stove, but it's in the ground also. Burns really clean, no smoke comes off of it. If you're gonna stay inside, which I prefer you to, don't think you're gonna grab a tent and a little bit of camping gear and go out in the woods and live. You won't survive more than a couple of months that way. Go up onto the mountains, go into a cave. Make sure there's not bears that live in that cave, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. Have a community. Rely on each other. It becomes easier if you have a community. You don't have to grow all of the food. You don't have to raise all the chickens, raise all the rabbits, have all the guns and ammo. You can rely on other people for that you trust. Back to why I think the more guns, the merrier. You may have to arm your whole community one day. You may be on a scouting trip. They could have got all their guns taken away from them and been released free to go by the other group that caught them on their property or close to their compound. You never know. But again, there won't be gun stores either. Of course, there'll be the black market. But you should just go ahead and prepare. You should bury a few of them right now. Find you 2 or 3 guns that are reliable. You can put them in Mylar bags, vacuum seal them, put them into a sealable military container, and bury them. You can even get 6-inch, 8-inch PVC pipe, put a cap on one end, put a clean out on the other end, bury it. So we've covered pretty much all the basics. The more you prep, the more you can barter with, though. Like I said, I practically have a hardware store. I even have a little bit of corn liquor put back, a little bit of sweet liquor. I don't drink. Very rarely do I drink. But in times of need, what's most people, if something like this would to happen, what would most people be trying to do to deal with it? They'd be trying to drink it. That's a very good bartering chip. Even as ammo, guns. I wouldn't prefer you get rid of your guns if you had to barter. But anything that's going to be needed, that society needs, baby formula. You can even go to Walmart and buy the powdered milk. Mix it with water. Tastes just like milk. I use it all the time. There's plenty of ways you guys can prep. You can stay ahead of the game. And if an SHTF event never comes, an EMP never happens, earthquakes never happen, even though the good book tells us it will happen. If aliens never come, and you rotate this stuff out, you rotate your food, you rotate your ammo, you rotate your water out. Think of it as a grocery store at your house. You rotate the stuff out. You still go to the grocery store every week, but you eat the older stuff first, and you rotate it out. You can always stay on top of it that way. So, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I should put in here. I made a couple of videos last night, and it ended up being 3 parts by the time I remembered everything. Gear. Most people will be running around with night vision. Night vision is expensive, but it's gotten a lot cheaper here lately. Thermal. Thermal scopes can be had for $500 or $600. You can get digital night vision for $200 or $300 at Walmart. It works. Um, I would suggest you and your partner at least have a plate carrier with plates. Now you can go with ceramic, you can go with soft armor, you can go with Kevlar, you can go with steel. It doesn't matter. But most people's going to have semi-auto rifles. You want a level 4 or higher. Ceramic ain't it's lightweight, but it's not rated for multiple hits. Still, AR 500 and 550s, it's rated for multiple hits, but it's heavier. I ain't saying you gotta get all geeked out and be LARPing like a military guy. But get you a plate carrier for you and your wife. If you have kids, get some for them. And not just buy this stuff and throw it away in your closet. Get out and wear it. Get it fitted to you. Get it fitted to your kids. I know some of this stuff sounds insane and sounds like, oh, he's just a crazy prepper. I'm not a prepper at all. I just like to be prepared. My dad taught me to be prepared in life. You should be also. Even if there's no SHTFs, what if there's earthquakes? What if there's tornadoes that rip through your town? I mean, I lived in Florida for 5 years. I went through 4 hurricanes, and every time the power was out to 2 to 4 weeks, every single time. And luckily, I had a grill I could cook. I had a pool of water. I could drink water. I had food stored back. I had canned goods. I had Spam in a can. I had beans. I had rice. I had all this stuff, and I ate a lot of it. My fiance at the time, her family didn't prep at all. Where do you think they was getting their food and water from? From me. So, the more you stock up, the more you prepare, the more you can help others out. As Christians, whether you believe in Jesus or not, as Christians, I'm a Christian, you're supposed to help your brothers and sisters out. How can you help them out if you can't even help yourself out? How can you keep your family alive if you can't keep yourself alive? Now, I don't claim to be some professional doctor or this or that, but I know how to use my sutures. I know how to use my staple gun. I can apply a tourniquet. I recommend 2 tourniquets per person is what I recommend. If you have the means necessary, 4 tourniquets per person, every limb. I know that you buy cat tourniquets, they're $30, $40 a piece. That's a lot of money. Normally just at work and just around the place, I always got 2 tourniquets on me. Most of my guns have tourniquets on the stocks also. Again, I didn't do this last night. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been buying stuff up. I've been finding deals on Marketplace. I've been getting deals from my buddies. People think I'm crazy. I don't care what people think about me. Clearly, I make a YouTube channel to help others out. I don't have enough subscribers yet. I don't have enough views to get any money from YouTube. I'm solely trying to help someone out. In the good book, God says, my people, my people. My people will die for the lack of knowledge. Well, I'm giving you some knowledge to prepare right now. I mean, we live in Tornado Alley. Here in Middle Tennessee is Tornado Alley. Every time we have tornadoes in any other state bordering us, we have tornadoes go right through us every time. You need to prep for fire in case you have a fire. Guys, usually fires don't get there until the house is already burned up. If you live in a mobile home, it takes 8 minutes from the start of the fire to fully burnt to nothing but studs falling over onto itself. Prep with food, prep with water, prep with weapons, prep with traps, even traps. I mean, snare traps, deadfall traps. Know how to do that. Know your knots, how to tie different knots and whatnot. It will help you out in the long run, I promise you that. Take your kids camping. Try to go without electronics for 2 or 3 days. Pack in everything that you use on that camping trip. I mean, I'm not even getting into clothes or camping gear or survival gear. I'm just trying to get you guys to start thinking and start preparing. Prepare for the worst. Pray and hope for the best. If you're on medications that you can only get once a month, any kind of Schedule 3 or anything in that nature, you better make sure that you can go without them. Again, there won't be doctors out there. If you're on blood pressure pills, get a 3-month supply. Tell your doctor what's going on. Tell him you want to prep. See if he'll write you an extra 3-month supply. 9 times out of 10, they will do it. If you're on blood pressure pills, cholesterol pills, anything that your body needs that you've been taking for 3 months or 6 months or longer, and your body's used to taking, get scripts of it. Get the medication. Stock it up. Anyways, there will be a barter system. Cash will be useless. Credit won't be no more. You'll have to barter for goods. Extra food that you have. Canned goods. Freeze-dried goods. I mean, you'd be amazed what a smoker would do for a pack of cigarettes. Let alone a whole carton. What would an alcoholic do for a bottle of scotch? Think about that. Now, I don't have a whole bar or anything. I don't have 20 cases of cigarettes. But I have some prepped. Some that I'll never smoke, and I've never wanted to smoke. Different brands. And yeah, they'll be stale. They will be. But you'd be amazed what somebody would do for a cigarette in hard times. Or a bottle of scotch. Even good corn liquor. I mean, you may run out of something. I mean, if you prep in 5-gallon buckets, you'll be pretty safe. If not, you'll have mice in the summertime. It's hard to get rid of mice. Everybody has field mice around here. If you live in Tennessee, you know what field mice are. I didn't until the first summer I lived here, and I found out real quick. So I hope this video helps you guys. If you guys found any of this interesting, if it was helpful to just one person, you think, leave a comment. Don't tell me all your preps. I don't need to know all that. But tell me your water source and how many months supply of food you may have on hand. And we can compare notes, comment, like, subscribe. Share this video with everybody you know. And try to get your family to prepare as well. Now, if you want to prepare and your wife doesn't, that's a very hard thing to get to. It took me and my wife probably 3 years for me to talk it into her head. You know how women are. Talk it into her head that she needed to prep. And now she's on board 100%. Takes a lot of free time, lots of hours to prep this stuff. I mean, most of us work 10 or 12 hours a day, and last thing we want to do is come home and work another 6 hours on food preps. Putting in Mylar bags, putting silica packets in it, putting oxygen packets in it. Takes a lot of work. But at the end of the day, it'll be worth it. Until next time, guys, thanks for listening to me. I appreciate you. Love each